Giving a vote without a voice at all. These be the problems that we face. I'm talking poverty and race, but no matter what the case, we gotta.
Day 16, Vancouver Occupy. Everybody's having a good time.
Yo, I'm the first candidate to hate. Had the beat on the drum to communicate.
This is what, the 16th day here, and I know many of you have become shall we say regulars, and I continue to congratulate the people who've actually effected an operation by demonstrating their homelessness and their real need by coming out here publicly and demonstrating in this very real way. So we need to acknowledge that there's a wide range of issues here that need address, and last night I attended one of these committees that this very loose organization has come up with, and they were calling themselves the Demands Committee. And I thought that was a bit strenuous, look, from a peace point of view. But on the other hand, you know, this is a serious and very deep rebellion against confusion and idiocy. And if a few demands are demanded, perhaps they will wake up to the reality of it. And anyway, basically what I've been offering on a regular basis, and now I would, I guess, like to make it a demand, and maybe on the top of the list, because I think it answers most of the needs of the people who are here in a very direct and long-standing way. And it has to start with an electoral process, and before that electoral process can really proceed, and I know many of you have refused to even register to vote because of the obvious fact that most of the politicians are bought and sold by the corporations and the banks even before they get selected. So it's very important that we do have a serious and practical option here. And for 15 years, including court attendances and the rest, I've been trying to get a none of the above option to bring about honourable settlement with the Aboriginal people. It can all be done really rather simply, but first of all, those of you who have refrained from registering to vote, young people and so on, I would recommend for this time around you do, but withhold your vote unless there is a none of the above option on the ballot. And perhaps if you haven't heard me speak before, I should just briefly say what happens if a none of the above option, should it be on the ballot, gets the majority in any riding. And what would happen would be there would be a pool of electors from people like yourself who chose to vote in protest against the parties and the individual candidates. And to be fair, I would say give serious consideration to independents, because many of them are very enlightened people, and I think we should acknowledge there are seriously committed people to ideals, even in the political game, although it's hard to imagine now. But if the none of the above had the majority, then there would be a random selection of a man and a woman. And my recommendation would be, so that there is real gender balance and real accord and real consensus, that the men and women should meet separately. Now, some people tell me, John, that's discrimination, and that's this and that and the other. But I can only say, well, God made us different, and I think if we begin by recognizing the fundamental equality and difference that exists by having them meet in regular separate sessions and then coming together when they've found accord and then putting to the people through a yes, no, or maybe referenda, excuse me. The purpose of the maybe is because there truly are geniuses and enlightened people in our community at large, and if they can come up with a better idea than that arrived at by these two assemblies, then I think we should give that proper hearing. Anyway, this I think is a way forward to a new age, what's happened just recently in May, I went to the Supreme Court before the Chief Justice in Victoria asking for assistance to bring this none of the above, because none of the authorities, the civil service or politicians wanted to touch it because they afraid it threatened their vested interests in a status quo which was all to their advantage at the disadvantage of the common people. So failing therefore to make any progress there, as some of you know and I appreciate you have done, I published 500 now of these petitions that can be sent directly. It's set up for that, to the Governor General, and after a period of 3 weeks, if no one has heard anything, then I think this matter has to be taken before some court, perhaps the Court of The Hague, because it's clear that there is no, the word is probity in this country, and that means adherence to certain principles and conscience, and if that fails to manifest itself, then the corruption has not only penetrated politics, the church, but now the courts themselves. And evidence to that effect, I regret to say, was brought to my attention yesterday, and it has to do with certain secret societies which have been incorporated in the not so far distant future to trick the common people into obeying this kind of arbitrary authoritarianism and nonsense. And the young people now, having had the advantage, I think, of pretty general education, if not at school, then through their use of the computers, are fully aware of all of this. We can, of course, maintain a credit system that does not rely on debt. And thank you very much. Everybody here knows what I'm talking about, and I won't go on any longer, but please give serious consideration to this none of the above, and I've asked Melmo Levine and that group, that committee, to add it to their list of demands. So I'm upping it from a suggestion to a demand, and I believe it's a vital demand because it would answer most of the other demands on the list. Thank you very much for your attention, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak publicly after about 10 years. Thank you so much.
Bless you, John. Bless you. All right, this one's for John.